So yeah, as you can see, there was nothing to do to get the game to run smooth. I kept getting sound issues in that same part every single time. Now it could be for the fact that the motherboard I have in this thing isn't allowing me to overclock it. I'm only showing 4 cores instead of 8. It's hard to say. But I did go outside of this for a few minutes and I went to see what the NVIDIA Shadow Play says I should set this thing at, and this is what NVIDIA says I should use. It has it set up on Ultra, Night Shadows on. I mean, there's just no way that would work on this system. So I will try running this a few more times, see if I get anything better. But other than that, yeah, it's just not very good. Let's go with a very low setting and try that. I'm going to try benchmarking this one last time and see what we get. So once again, I forgot to switch to music and all that. But here's the thing, this was on very low. And watch when I come up to this corner right here, watch the frame rate just drop. Look at that. 27, 23, 30, I mean, just massive stutters, even on very low. So once again, this really isn't working. I mean, granted, I'm hitting, what, 86, 87 frames a second on very low? But look at what a GPU is. I think it's, what, sitting there. When it hits the low frame rate, it gets really hardcore use by looking. But yeah, this just, once again, did not work. So I had to come up with some other type of a plan. So let me go jump back off to the end of this little bit and check out those settings. So as you can see, look at that, 21 stutters count. So jump back in here real quick, take a peek, go, 33 frames per second. Now I'm going to turn on the vertical sync. Double check the frames. I want 30, but give me 25 or 33. So, all right, let's see what this does. All right, so here we are. We are locked at 33 frames per second. My GPU is only going up to what, 25, maybe 30% usage? And no stutter in that first little churn section I always get it in. And lo and behold, this thing is running smooth. Now granted, 30 frames, you know, welcome to Xbox One X in the, what is it, performance mode? No, not performance mode, in quality mode. So that's all the Xbox One X will get you is 30 frames per second. So there we go, 30 frames per second, just like the Xbox One X. But all right, let's go check out another setting and see what else we might be able to change here. All right, so here we are at the end of this, and look at that, starter count, 0, GPU limited percentage, 100. 33 frames was my target, 33 frames was achieved. That's pretty good. So after seeing that, I jump back into the settings real quick, and I'm like, wait a minute here. Let's go with the auto detect and let the game say what it's going to use. So I hit the auto detect, turns it on. Now the game does have to reboot here, but it does put it back at 2K. I decided to set it back to 33 frames, vertical sync. Now it has to reboot. So, or it will in a second here. So save and continue, and now we have to restart. So hang on. Alright, so as you can see, I started playing around with the settings a little bit. I put it to locked at 30 frames, and it actually ran extremely well at low. So right before I exited out of the game to reset everything, I went and told it to set it what it thinks it should use, and it put it back at 2K, because this is a 2K monitor. I put the frames back at 33. I think I'll do 50 also. We might try that later. Kept the vertical sync on. It did turn on motion blur. But it put everything to about medium. So let's give this one a shot and see what happens once. Alright, so here we go. Testing it out at the game's recommended settings, which was medium. And locked it at 33 frames per second again. Alright, so here comes that corner that I hate, because it always drops frames here. And holy cow, it actually stayed at 33 on medium settings. Wow, I mean, is this a time when I would say if you got an older system and it is struggling a bit to turn on VSync? I actually might, because lately I have not been using VSync at all. I mean, so far, no stutters, no slowdown, no anything. And I think we need to test out at 50 frames locked in and see what we get. So let's go and check that one out once. I'll get this to the end real quick to show you the if there was any stutters of that, so hang on. Alright, finish that finish line and check that out. Stutter count, 0. GPU limited percentage at 100. You know what? Let's try 50. So here we go, 50 frames per second. See if it can handle it. Alright, here we go. Let's see if this thing can hold 50. Especially at that first corner where it always dropped when it was non-vertical synced. So here we coming on up to it, and it held it. That is insane. It actually held the frames. So this is actually running extremely well. At 50 frames, this is, even at the 33, when you watch how the game was playing, both of these are playable. You know, I'd almost recommend at 30 frames, if you're going to run at that, definitely have the motion blur on. Kind of a toss-up though, because I still hate motion blur. I left it on even on this one. But I can't believe this. I put on vertical sync, lock it at a frame rate, and it works fine. I wonder if vertical sync with 100 frames would work. Let's get to the end here and find out. Now the screen here might come up kind of fast, but it shows once again 0 stutters, 100% usage. So now I'm curious, because it held 50 perfectly. What about 100? So go back into the settings and let's change that real fast. Alright, so here we go, trying to push 100 frames a second. As you can see, it started off really bad there and dropped down to 25, 26. So already it's showing me that, yeah, this was not a smart move. I can't even get over the 55 by too much yet, but watch when I come up to this again. We're going to get that slowdown to show up again. Wait for that area to come up, because it did it this time right at the beginning. So I think it happens a little closer to the end, but yeah, it does stutter again. So let's get this to the end so we can see how many stutters we had. Alright, finish line in sight. It'll give us that little screen in a second here, and we had 16 stutter counts. So 100 frames is a no-go. It did achieve 64 at least. But yeah, put it back to 50 and that's where it's going to stay at. 50 frames work like a charm. So, as you can see, when I set it to 33 frames and put on the vertical sync and 50 frames with vertical sync on, it held it perfectly. No stutters, no nothing. So if you are going to run Forza Horizon 4 on a slower unit and you're having stuttering issues, try that. Make sure you lock the frames. Put it for the 33, I wouldn't say 25, go for 30, between 30 and 60, try those two and lock them on in. I did try one other test where I told it to run it, as what you see here is what NVIDIA was showing me. This is actually from the beginning of the video. That did not work at all. That ran like garbage. So don't try that one. But if you like this video, click the like button, click subscribe, and I'll upload some more very soon. Thank you for watching.